I just got done running up and back down from the tallest point in all of northern Germany. You're definitely not going to want to miss this video if you love adventure and iconic history that's unique to this area of Germany. So let's head all the way back about 5 hours ago to the beginning of this video so you can join me on my way up and of course back down. Let's go. So let's talk logistics on how to get to Bad Harzburg to start this hike. It's really easy to get here from Hanover. You take the Regional 10 train straight from Hanover all the way to the end of the line right here in Bad Harzburg. It's about an hour and 20 minutes with, of course, a few delays on the way. And it's really interesting because it's super flat the entire way. And then right when you get to Goslar, another town that we've done a few different videos on, including a Christmas market, you start to see the mountains here. So we're in the city. We are going to walk and make our way up to the highest point here in northern Germany. Now, as I make my way out of Bad Harzburg up into the mountains here, I'm going to say the town's quite cute. A lot of it's closed because it's early in the morning. I took the 6:45 train out of Hanover, got here at about 8 o'clock, and everything's kind of dead or just opening up. But it looks like it would be a really pretty town to visit, especially on kind of a relaxing holiday. So immediately after you cross the river and get out of the city of Bad Harzburg, you start going up in elevation and quickly. And of course, that's something I knew because today we are running up to Brocken, the highest point in all of northern Germany in the Harz Mountains. It's going to be about 1,130 meters of elevation gain or 3,700 feet. And in total, this run hike is going to be about 35 kilometers or close to 20 miles from the Bad Harzburg station all the way to the top. And the last thing I'm gonna say is that I'm probably gonna be breathing heavy. So unfortunately, if you don't wanna hear me catching my breath while talking on camera, you're gonna be out of luck in this video. Now, you're gonna wanna stay tuned for this entire video because we, of course, are gonna check out the highest point here in northern Germany while also exploring some of the former inner German border back from when Germany was divided into East and West. So make sure to watch all the way through to catch those things. Now, I know Bad Harzburg was originally a spa town in the mountains here where people would come vacation, and it still kind of looks like that today with a lot of pretty buildings. But coming up in the forest here, one thing I totally forgot about was that it's known for a little bit of adventure into nature as well. You can see this cool spiral bridge here, and then it actually goes all the way overhead through the forest there. It's something that looks interesting to me. I know I also saw online that they have zip lining here. So a few fun adventure things in nature here. And if that's worth it, make sure to let us know because maybe we'll have to come back and do a video on Bad Harzburg itself. One thing I've noticed just so far is that the signage seems to be excellent here in the Harz National Park. It's great because it's my first time here. I really don't want to get lost. I'm using the app Komoot, which I've never used before, but they do advertise that 1 out of every 4 Germans uses it. So I don't know, I guess that means I've made it long enough here in Germany, considering I've downloaded it. So if you're curious as to whether I am running or walking most of this, I'm doing a mix. Basically, when it's flat, downhill, slightly uphill, I'm running. When it's really steep, I'm definitely walking, trying to conserve my energy. So of course, I make it out okay. But it's a little bit of a mix of both. I try to run the uphills when I can, but it's not always possible. So far, it's going so well. Like I said, oh, hold on, tree. Fallen tree. My legs aren't really accustomed to big inclines because Hanover is so flat, but we'll see how my legs hold up. So far, so good. I run a lot, train a lot. That doesn't ever come through on our YouTube channel. So this video is very different from anything we've really ever made. If you're liking the video, or I guess not liking the video, let us know. Oh man, this was a stupid idea. I've always wanted to try one of those shots, but not a good idea when hiking or running because, man, it's just up and down, back again. Not so fun. Maybe better when you're just walking in the city. So although I'm only about 5 kilometers from Bad Harzburg where we started, I hit my first sign of civilization. Yeah, of course, it's really not that far, but this is Molkenhaus. It looks like a little restaurant inn maybe, and maybe it's a place I'm gonna have to stop back at if I come back this way for some food, because it looks really good and it looks like a traditional German place. It reminds me of some of the alpine huts we visited when we were in Bavaria this summer, for example, in Oberammergau, and just had exquisite Kaiserschmarrn. One thing I absolutely love. In fact, maybe I'll have to go check out to see if they have it there. All right, a little change of scenery here out in this open field, higher up in the mountains, sunny instead of in the shaded woods. But the whole run isn't like this, but I had to throw on my sunglasses, and according to the last sign, we're coming up on our first site of the old inner German border, where you can see East and West Germany and be right on the old border yourself. I'm excited to see it, can't wait. The Harz Mountains are the highest point in northern Germany, and they actually stretch across 3 different states: Lower Saxony, Saxon-Anhalt, and Thuringia. It's quite impressive, and one mysterious fun fact about the Harz is that they're actually associated with witches, spirits, and black magic. Now, while I haven't experienced any of that today, thankfully, yet, of course, I don't want to speak too soon, I can see why back in history the Harz were associated with that. You have some mysterious dark paths here, some interesting rock formations like the ones behind me, and it's just a very, very quiet area. And of course, it's mountains in northern Germany, so very different than the surrounding area. So that imposing structure right behind me there is the Ecker Dam, and that's our first look at the former inner German border. Now, I can't believe that that huge structure is holding back a ton of water, and I'm down below it. So let's get up there really quick and check out this historic border between East and West Germany. So coming up to a bit of a clearing here on an unfortunately asphalt paved road. I love the trails way more than asphalt. You can see a lot of dead trees. It's a little interesting historical fact, something that's happened here in the Harz Mountains. We'll come back to that later because we're coming right up to the dam. So that is it right behind me there, the Ecker Dam. It was built during World War II. That's the border right there. So you're either in former East Germany, former West Germany, now, of course, just Germany. But it's so cool that you can go right down to it and cross it, which let's go do. Walking across the dam here, I'm left just absolutely speechless. This is incredible. It's a part of living history that really wasn't even that long ago. I mean, less than 100 years. This was built in the early 1940s during World War II and divided former East and West Germany. I mean, down one side here, it goes way down. And then over here, you have the dam behind me here. It's just wild to think that you couldn't just walk across this without actually crossing a border between 2 different countries not too long ago. I mean, now I'm just going on a run in nature, up a mountain in a forest, but before there were actually guards here that were blocking your entrance to another country, so you couldn't just walk here. And now you get to walk right through it. This is so interesting to me and so fascinating, and I just love that I'm able to experience it and bring you along with. Now, if you're liking videos like this where we experience history like that and see all these awesome things in a bunch of different countries, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps us out here at My Travel BF, so we can continue making videos like this and showing you these amazing places where you can come with us and travel, and of course, see if you want to go do those too. So right behind me here, these markers that are the colors of the German flag were actually the dividing line between the former East and West. And wow, again, simply amazing. Can't wait to see more of them because there's a few more places I want to see on this inner German border as we go up and of course back down from Brocken. And of course, speak of the devil, pretty sure that's Brocken right up there where you can see the TV tower or antenna tower or whatever it is. But that is where we're headed. Now it's flat, but look at the ground here. I'm gonna have to put the camera away for a second because I can't quite film while running. Otherwise I'm gonna twist an ankle on this. So I'm now almost on the other side of the dam, and as I crossed it and came around and went on a nice, relatively flat run all the way around it, it changed from this lush green forest we saw before to a bunch of these kind of ugly dead trees that you see. And it's not just right here behind me, it goes all up in the hills in all directions. Now, there is a little bit of unique history that goes along with that here in the Harz Mountains. And I'm just gonna lead with the word biodiversity because that's very important. You need a mixture of species for an ecosystem to do very well and to be able to sustain itself. Now, here in the Harz, they had planted a long time ago a bunch of spruce trees. And the reason for that was because they were strong and they grew very, very fast. So you could continue to harvest them and replant them quickly. It was obviously good for business. However, when the bark beetle came, it attacked the spruce trees and killed nearly all of them. Now, of course, you might learn from that and not replant all spruce trees. However, that's not what happened here in the Harz. They just went ahead and replanted the same type of spruce tree. And it worked well for a while. The trees grew fast. It was great. However, of course, that same pesky bark beetle decided to come again, and we get what you see here today. So a bunch of dead trees, not the most beautiful sight, but definitely a unique one, an interesting one. And this isn't even the middle of winter, so they're not even dead because of that. It's because of the bark beetle and because they're all the same species. So hopefully when they decide to replant it and let the forest regenerate itself, they use a mixture of species, not just the exact same tree, because if that one tree gets attacked and dies, then all of them do. So a little lesson to be learned here from the non-forestry experts here at my Travel BF. But up in the distance, we are approaching and getting closer to Brocken, but there's still a little bit to head up, so it's flat. I'm gonna take advantage of that and run, and I'll see you closer to the summit. So I believe we're now on our final ascent here. The pavement just changed to what I actually saw photos of when looking at the hike online. So I think we're headed up. It's not my favorite thing to run on, but that's okay. We're gonna run as far as we can, walk when it gets really steep, and let's get up to the top of northern Germany. So we are really headed up now. Probably about the last kilometer has been up, and up pretty steep, just kind of like how it was at the beginning. But man, since we went onto this like kind of cement path with holes on it, it really sucks. I'm sure it's used to get cars up to the top because of that antenna tower and we could see earlier. But man, this is not fun to walk or run on. I really want a trail. And whew, back to listening to me out of breath. But I'm not gonna stop. We're gonna keep going. Almost there. Cannot wait to see the top. Brocken is 1,141 meters above sea level. So it definitely is up compared to anywhere else in northern Germany. And I can tell you, my calves and legs can definitely feel it. Now, as I continue to complain about this asphalt with every single step on the way up, I realized something, and that's that Brocken is in the former Soviet East Germany, and it was used as a point to spy on the west because it's the highest point in the area, so they could spy over onto the other side. In fact, this was probably just used to get vehicles up from the army from former East Germany. Whew, it is up though. So they had to get them up, and removing, I don't know, these kilometers and kilometers of cement is almost impossible. So I guess in a way, while they're very annoying to hike up, they do provide some historic element to this hike that didn't cross my mind when I first started complaining about them. Now, they're still not my favorite, but thinking about that, keeping that in my head, is helping a little bit, even though, like I said, I'd prefer a trail. But I think we gotta be close. We gotta be close. Yes, finally. There it is behind me right there. Let's go. Cannot wait to see from the top. So while it might not look like it behind me here, I am actually at the top of northern Germany at the summit of Brocken. It's 1,142 meters above sea level. I actually saw that right at the rocks at the top. Now there was a long line to take a photo there, so I just decided to skip it. It's quite busy at the top because there's a hotel up here, which I didn't know, a beer garden, a restaurant, a visitor center. I had no idea. All I knew was about the Brockenbahn, which is a narrow gauge railway that can actually take you from some of the small mountain towns all the way up to the top of Brocken if hiking it is not for you. But I am so happy to finally be at the top. It was about 16 kilometers from Bad Harzburg all the way up here, and I'm going to take a little bit of a different way down because I want to see a few more parts of that inner German border. So I'm going to explore a little bit more at the top, get some views off the side, because man, you are way up here, and this is something that you do not experience in most places here in northern Germany. But I am absolutely loving it, and I also love that there's a way for people to get up here who might not be down for hiking or biking all the way up here. And that Brockenbahn, the narrow gauge railway, actually seems really cool. And if you've been on it, let us know, because I think we're gonna have to come back and make a video about that, perhaps in winter, because I bet that would be really beautiful and not as fun to hike up. So let's head back down and see some more of that old inner German border. Man, that's so cool. The Brockenbahn just passed behind me here as I'm coming down. I'm gonna say once you go down, you really go down, and I mean steep and fast. And that side of Brocken, it's a paved trail for a while, and then we kind of cut over to the right on this gravel trail, thankfully, because the paved trail was so packed with people, and this side is already so much busier. Obviously it's later in the day than it was earlier, but it was really cool to see the train go past. So right behind me here is another point of the inner German border, and it's just amazing to me that you just have this post, and then on the poster right there, it says right behind there, that was the border, there was a wall. And today you just see tons of people going through it. In fact, this side is a lot busier than where I came up this morning. So I'm about to cut back down, follow that border, and take us back to eventually the dam, and then hopefully the train station. But I gotta watch where I'm going, because the trail did just get a lot more technical. It's definitely a smaller single track trail through the woods here, and I'm excited to get off some of those big roads just filled with people, get back into nature here in the Harz, and let's go. Let's see where it takes us. So basically I can see why nobody else is on this trail, which is kind of nice because I'm actually in nature, not just surrounded by a bunch of people like I was coming down from Brocken. There's a river on one side of me, and there's a river on both sides of me now. Pretty cool. But there's also kind of a river underneath me, because there's definitely water flowing here that kind of eventually goes into the river, goes away, and then comes back. And I really have to watch where I'm going, because there's a lot of rocks, but I feel like I could twist an ankle. Luckily, there we go, almost slipped. But I can definitely see why not as many people are on here, because it's not as accessible as the other trail or as wide. But man, it is nice just being here in nature, hearing the stream, and just, it's so peaceful. Now this video is 100% not sponsored by Komoot. However, I have to shout it out because I'm absolutely loving this app. Not only could I create my own routes on there as well as look at pre-planned routes that other people had done, but I can also get a free 7-day subscription to their premium service instead of paying the full yearly subscription or by the week. So it's great because I can test it out and I am absolutely loving it. I might actually have to get their premium one, and that's because I can download a route, get it offline, and then navigate without killing my entire phone battery on this hike, especially because I'm definitely in and out of cell service, so it would just drain the battery so fast. And I'm gonna have to say, if you're going hiking in Germany, definitely use that. I'm also a fan of all trails, but as a few people told me, Komoot is the way to go in Germany because there's actually more trails there, more routes that you can design, and you can even pick between cycling, running, hiking, gravel riding, probably a few other things. But I have to say, make sure to download it. I'm absolutely loving it, and I will be using it again. Wow, I've been running for a while now, but I see Brocken. Can't believe we were all the way up there, all the way back here. I just saw a sign, about 7 kilometers left. After going down so much, I was just ready to cruise all the way into Bad Harzburg, and I forgot about this little part. And it's not fun going back uphill. But we gotta make that train. The Moken house behind me here smelled amazing going past it. Unfortunately, I don't think I can go another 5-6 kilometers with a full belly of food, but dang, that smelled so delicious. We'll have to come back. Man, my legs are on fire, but there were definitely some points during this hike that I actually considered quitting and just turning around and coming back because my legs were really on fire. But something I kind of kept having in the back of my head, aside from, of course, wanting to show you everything, was the fact that Becca and I are huge fans of MTV's The Challenge. And we just finished season 40. I know, a bit behind, but I just keep being like, I know how much TJ hates quitters. I can't quit, so I have to keep going. So I push myself through it, and I don't know, little fun fact about us behind the camera that you never see. So obviously I'm all done running and back down in Bad Harzburg from Brocken. I had an incredible time, even though it was definitely difficult. But before the train, I had time to get some ice cream. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this, or if you don't and you prefer to stick to the original ones. Now, speaking of that, we have 2 other videos popping up here, Wernigerode and Quedlinburg. Awesome towns in the Harz Mountains. Those are some of our favorite cities we visited here in Germany. Now, time to finish this ice cream and catch that train. Bye.